No, it's just us. Just us board members. That doesn't happen very often.
Can you hear me, Alexa?
Uh-huh.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So I was just looking at the calendar on the public notice website, and I couldn't find the Zoom link. So now I'm wondering if we should get John to add that. Oh, here. Maybe it's at the bottom? No?
Should I text him?
Yeah, if you have his stuff, he probably pays more attention to that than emails.
So it's not on the calendar?
No, I cannot find it. He sent us a calendar thing, but it's not on the. I'm not sure if everybody else can find it.
I got it from the notice he sent out to everybody.
Yeah.
I don't see it on the public notice site anywhere either, Alexa.
No, I was just looking at that. That's where I went to get it.
I'll tell him that too.
Because we want to make sure that everybody can join. What's going on that picture, Mike? Looks like something is falling apart, or
Yeah, it was a power outage up on Lizard Head Mountain above Telluride years ago, and tree had fallen on the line, and town was out of power for about 2 days until we could get in there, and CDOT had to shoot all the avalanches off the highway so we could get into where we needed to get to, and then snowcat in and cut that tree off. And one of my buddies caught that picture of us pulling the tree off the line.
Ah, interesting. Hey, John.
Good evening. How are you guys?
Hi. We were just looking at the public notice, and it didn't seem to have a Zoom meeting address on it.
A what meeting address?
This meeting address, the link to the Zoom meeting was not on the public notice, and I'm wondering if there are people looking for it, trying to connect with us.
It was on there, unless it had a glitch. Yeah, because it was copied and pasted. You have to page down.
Meeting information.
That's also why I send out that separate email to everybody on the customer list too, as a backup plan for that.
Well, I still don't see it, so maybe something went wrong there.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure. Not at this late hour, but
Board meeting agenda.
yeah, it's usually copied and pasted in with the rest of the items.
Well,
I've had trouble getting in there lately. I don't know if that's another symptom of something wrong with it, but.
well, if you emailed it to all the customers, then.
Yeah, because the other thing too, you have to subscribe to get that. I don't know if they look specifically, but no, everybody gets that email. That, you know, that one from yesterday. It's got the TUID meeting link, and it specifies it in bold.
I guess we're safe to assume that people who are not customers are not that interested in our meetings.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody that we didn't recognize, but yeah, I'm not sure. But
is it posted on the website as well, John?
Is what posted, Mike?
The meeting link.
That's what Alexa's saying is not. So I'm not sure. It was.
Well, I mean tickabooUID.com. Is it posted there?
No, we've never posted it on there. We can do that. We can start sending out an alert. Cut the slide back on. I can't figure out which is worse. That's probably. Well, we can try this one and see.
That's better.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Got new LED lights behind me. They're really bright. They work, except for a meeting.
Hmm. So are you expecting anyone else? Is Ray coming, Amy?
I'm not sure. He was
Up
out
on
on the
this, isn't
property
he?
somewhere, and I think he was going to try to make it back, but I'm not sure if he will or not.
Well, we just have to muddle along without him then. So shall we start?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, well, we're calling this meeting to order, and I'll just note that Mike Morlang, Amy Golden, and Alexa Wilson, all members of the board, we're all here. Adopt the agenda. Oh, hey, Connie.
Hey, I just figured out how to turn my camera.
Good.
You don't have an echo, do you?
Okay, we are, I think the agenda is, fine.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, approval of the minutes. I don't have them in front of me, but I did read them and they looked fine to me. Anybody have any comments on the? And thank you, Connie, for putting that together.
Oh, no
Can't hear
comment.
you.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the
I'll
last
second.
meeting.
Everybody in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, we are still doing electronic meetings because in 2020, the legislature decided that we could without a proper anchor location. So here we are. Public comment, we have no public on this meeting. So if public arrives at some, then we will circle back to that if everybody is okay with that.
Yeah, and one comment related to that, Mike. Yeah, we do have the meeting schedule posted on the website. We've never have posted any kind of alerts or edits, but yeah, the meeting schedule itself is posted on there. And this is one that was on there too. Yeah, I didn't get a lot of response back from people. Everybody's busy, I think, for the most part. I just haven't heard from. Yeah, we seem kind of everybody's out and about, even town wise. The handful of people we have there.
Yeah. Okay, well, maybe everybody's Christmas shopping.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah.
Sustaining the economy by spending all the money they don't have.
You got it.
So, okay, board reports and business. Shall I start, or Amy, Mike, do you have anything to report?
I don't have anything, Alexa.
Okay, so I have two things. One is we have talked to, do you remember we had a technical assistance opportunity with NREL, the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. They gave us the specifications for our solar and battery program that we used in our last grant application. One of the persons involved in that process approached us and said that they wanted to partner with us on a next grant application, which I don't know, for some reason Tickaboo has got the imagination of the people in that particular office. I think that is a really good good thing.
I've told them that we'd love to partner with them because they can help us build out more the technical specifications of what we want. I mean, now basically all we say, we can get some land and we could put so many solar panels on there, and then we need this size battery. That's the extent of our technical program. And they can help us build it out to something that is more detailed and more substantive and hopefully more convincing to the people that decide who to give the grants to, that we're actually serious about this. And they could also help us with the DEIA, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility program, because apparently there are very specific standards for that, and I completely didn't know about that, and I just gave him a bunch of BS that I already knew was not worth much other than they were words to fill in the blank. So I think that's a good sign. It definitely motivates me to do it. It does not solve our problem that I think whatever help we're going to get in the renewable realm has to be in 2025, because with the new administration, and I think they're very solar panel friendly. The NREL folks did tell us that the last time around, it took them a while to make an impact. So she thought that, well, she knew that the money allocated to the next round of grants was safe. Once the grant process has started and they made the announcements, they set the money apart. So in the federal world, it's already spent because it's set aside for that particular grant. For 2025, we most likely are going to just keep the, I think it was 25% or 40% or 30% tax credit for solar panels, which has a big impact on how much we would have to pay a PPA provider, because 40% less money spent on solar panels reduces the price by a good chunk. And what I haven't figured out is, my original plan was do it in a linear way. Like we first try one more grant. And if that doesn't work, because that's obviously the best option, like if
Sure.
somebody gives us a bunch of money for solar panels. But if that doesn't work, then we can go the PPA route. And now we have to somehow compress this all in 2025. And I haven't quite figured out how to do that.
Yeah.
Anybody have any bright ideas about how to do that?
Well, I've been thinking about this long and hard, after the last, failure for the grant application. And I'm wondering if we shouldn't start in a reverse flow. So let's start at what we produce and then size a battery that can offset our fuel consumption accordingly to save money. And then also maybe we add in a little bit of solar panel to help, offset that. So, we're running Cat C9s, big generators. There's some extra power available there that we could be using to charge batteries to run overnight, per se. So say we put in this battery bank and we run through the day on the bank, overnight on the batteries, we're cutting our fuel consumption. Just maybe start chipping away at costs instead of an overall fix. We know what the fix is. It's a big project. Maybe we start looking at a little smaller detail and see if we can find some ways to offset that fuel cost, continue to offset it.
Yeah, that sounds like I'm not visualizing. Oh, so you're saying if we run a big generator and we're not using all the power, we can use the rest power that's not being used for anything useful to charge a battery.
Sure, we, you know, if, and maybe we add some solar, to that. But basically, we're charging a battery that's gonna carry us through the night, per se. So we're cutting our generation time down by using the battery bank. We're using excess power from the generator to charge the bank, plus using solar to charge the bank. But we're not adding a system that's just designed to do that without the generator. That makes sense? So it's a little smaller system, but they're all modular. So if in the future we do get the big grant, we can just add on to what we've already got to get to that.
Yeah, makes sense. An example of that is one of those sets engineers that came out, said the house panels had I think it was a 70 kilowatt capacity that's not being used. So they even mentioned that could be used at some point to charge batteries. Obviously the well houses being far apart, you're probably using the one near the power plant, theoretically, but they do have that ability to do that too. And especially, what I see now, again, the C9s don't like low demands, and the 15 specifically hates it. But yeah, it does have a benefit, especially seasonally too, times like this, where it eliminates obviously then the fuel and wear and tear on the machine too. So that's a good way to look at it.
Well, and yeah, those generators like load, we know they
Yeah.
like to load it up. So if we can keep them loaded up, even when we're,
Yeah.
like right now, we could be running a C9 and charging batteries
Yeah. Yeah,
and
exactly.
saving the fuel overnight. You know what I'm saying? The MQ idea is gone at that point, and
Yeah.
and just carry that through the season. And plus, then you'd have the reliability of the big generators for your big peak loads in the summer for the resort. And I think it's just something I was thinking about after the last failures. Maybe we chip away at it a little smaller and look for some solutions just to reduce generator runtime.
Yeah, we could definitely wonder if we can find somebody to figure that out for us. Some engineer somewhere who, I don't know, a little hesitant to suggest spending more money, but that might be worth it to get somebody to draw it out for us.
Yeah, and we've already talked to a Jetto Energy out of Boulder, and they do whole microgrid solutions. And they did that plan for us. They might be interested in looking at it again, and they've got all of our energy information right now, so.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. I should get my head to thinking smaller rather than bigger. That's a very good suggestion. Does anybody else want to say anything on the subject before I move on to the second thing I have? I have talked to Dave and Ray, who they have so far not charged us for the use of the storage facility and the office. And Dave has come to the conclusion that they can't really afford to keep doing that. So just let us use the space for free. And I'm a believer in paying for what you get. So we've come up with an amount of $1,200 per month. That would include the office itself, the use of the adjacent storage area, like an inside storage area, where I'm not quite sure what's there. But we have stuff there that takes about 100 square foot to be stored. And then we take up about 3 storage stalls in the boat storage area for trailers. And I don't know, maybe you can, John, you can tell us what all is in there. And the
Yeah.
craziest thing of all is that they've even paid for our power. It's like, so those four elements together come to about $1,200. That's $150 per month for a boat storage stall. That is, I've done some research on commercial leases offered on now I can't think of the name of that website. I'll think of it at some point. And we've based a per square foot lease on an average of similar commercial areas. And the cost of the North Lake Powell also pays for our phone and internet connection there. That's kind of tied in with the phone for their whole facility. So I think all in all, I can send out a spreadsheet that kind of shows how that's all put together. I think it's a fair offer, and we didn't notice this as an item to decide on, so we can't at this point. But I think we should bring that back for our next meeting, and then in the meantime work on getting a contract together and start paying our way.
Yeah, do you guys want me to cover what's under storage, and then what is and would be in the enclosed storage?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, as far as covered storage, TUID has a tractor and a front end loader. The old MQ that's no longer working until we decide what to do with it, and that's something to bring up in the future too, rather than just sitting. Then we have the response trailer, which is the enclosed cargo trailer that contains equipment for doing work in town. And then we have the TUID truck itself, the Ford, and then also the alternate dump trailer, and stays under there too. Everything combined. Inside right now, I've got extra stuff like paper shredders and some lights I've been keeping next door to the office, and there's a little space next door. And what would go over there too is just stuff we've accumulated or need, like water testing bottles, some other gas testing equipment, the metal detector, just stuff in the office that would go over there and, be under lock and key, obviously, as it is now. And just kind of intermingle some of the field stuff. Got a step ladder in there now. Just, yeah, kind of unintermingle some of the field stuff out of the office itself. To put over there that's still, just within quick reach if needed to, basically is what it comes down to for that.
Yeah, so I propose that we'll just keep working on documenting that and bring that back to for a formal decision on our next meeting. Does Amy or Mike, do you want to comment, have a question about that?
No, I think it's a good conversation to have. I think we need to do that.
Okay. Okay, Amy, Mike, do you have anything, any adventures to tell about this meeting?
Really, for me.
Oh, John, looks like you're up.
All right. I will go over these points on the update that I sent you guys. First one is obviously we know the MQ is out for the repairs and major maintenance that it needs. I think I told you guys there's a very odd failure where injector cut into the head because the fuel injector itself failed. And with diesel engines, fuel pressure is like 10,000 PSI, so it can cut a finger and cut metal if directed in the right direction. So and spray in the face if you crack an injector like I have to bleed it. But yeah, I mean, you know, and I'm going to cover this in the next point, but it's tough. I mean, it's always, as I told Ray, I think the other day, we're talking about different things. I never feel good about the money I spend for Tickaboo or offshore or anything around here because everything we do is so expensive. You know, from getting it repaired to what actually breaks. And the MQ, we go over the fuel use. I think it did have a big impact of how we're going to come under budget, you know, this year for the amount of fuel used and the cost of it. So there's, you know, there's a return on investment that comes back through that. And some of the items, stop short of saying they're convenience items, but like the radiator, getting it, you know, redone, what they call boiled and rotted. It's more money and it's not cheap, but you do it while it's there, and you know, because it's going to cost you more later. You know it's coming, so you just bite the bullet and take care of that. But and as I said, it's just you know, some things I know more and less about. Electricity, I know basics, but the MQ seems to be unaffected in the winter, like the Cat C9s are, for the reverse reactive power and the current imbalance. Number 2 shuts down pretty much once a day, and I have to go. I end up going up there 2 or 3 times a day to check on it, but it always goes about 8 o'clock in the morning. But the MQ won't do that. So you would think, per science and electricity, it wouldn't really matter from generator to generator, but it does. So there's benefits there. So we're getting that, you know, done and back, and I'll get you guys updates on that as they get going and finished up. So we'll see benefit from there. I completed the wastewater training. You guys are certification and training. So it's, you know, it's always interesting stuff to learn, and obviously it's required too. And then, you know, it benefits us down the road, the things we need to do. And as part of that, Connie went with me to Moab to do training there. They have a 4 Corners training yearly. And that was twofold. Number 1 was to, you know, get the training and the continuing education credits that go with that are required. You get these certifications, then you're faced with keeping up with them, which makes sense, but it is time consuming. But also number 2, to network with the Rural Water Association people. You know, I've met them, I've seen them over a video conference, but it just nothing beats, you know, face to face and a handshake and a smile. So I made good contacts with people there who want to come down here. A lot of these guys teaching there, they're 30, 40-year operators, and you can't replace that kind of knowledge, you know, from experience and hands-on. So they, you know, my deal is like, hey, I really know nothing. So they're going to come help us. And even the vendors, like one of the guys, Eric with Dorset Controls, which is our SCADA for the well house, was there. And Eric's comment was like, we don't want to leave you hanging. I'm like, I kind of already am. This stuff really doesn't work. So let's get you down here to show me if things need to be looked at or if it's user error on my end of things. And, you know, let's make that money we pay you guys monthly count. Excuse me. So items like that was good too. And as I mentioned too, we you know learned about the things like PFAS or PFOS, depending on what part of the country you're from, how you say it. You know, and how the EPA is looking at that for drinking water. You know, those are forever chemicals that are in a lot of stuff. And those regulations are coming to community water systems, which makes sense. You know, it's for good reason to protect human health and life, you know, too. But anyway, that was good. It's tough sitting in a classroom for 8 hours humped over in a chair, but learned a lot of items, and you know, met some good people, and you know, it's always good to try to do that every once in a while there. So as I was mentioning about the MQ, yeah, it looks like we're going to come in under budget on fuel, which is always good. We're at 180,000 spent now. I've got to get a little bit more. Always hate to see it, try to squeeze it out, but I'm going to get a little bit to get through it's not really getting through because you always have a buffer. I mean, like right now we have, gosh, about 12 feet of fuel, which at I just being 780 gallons per feet and round it up to 800. You got 8,000 gallons, but you just don't really go below that buffer. There's reasons for that. But we'll get a little bit now, probably 5,000 gallons, and also mix in the winter additive that we need for the winter. It's an anti-gel. But even with that, if you look at that, it's about 276 a gallon right now. So if you look at, just round it to 15 grand, we'll be about 195 with some left. I mean, it won't be all expended. You can do the math, but that's nice.
Have we had to do a surcharge, a fuel surcharge?
We did for 1 month. It was like 2 cents. So that was it. Yeah, we were.
I had such a sense of urgency about that. I guess I'm glad that was not necessary.
Well, and there's so many things that control pricing that we can't do anything about. So that is luck. I mean, I'll take luck along with other expertise and science too, to be successful. And that does factor in. So that's been nice. Yeah. That's something I didn't want to see for anybody that already has to break that off every month, because it is expensive, as we all know. So that was good too. Yeah. And pricing, I mean, the price definitely helped out. I mean, as far as being under budget, the ideal goal is to be over budget on revenue and under on expenses. And we've done that in most areas, minus generator maintenance and repair, which,
Yeah, we can use a little luck somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. Well, and at least it does offset, you look at it from a larger picture and, hey, we were over on repair and maintenance, we're under on fuel. So that, that money can get moved around and, makes the organization healthier overall, where it's not, not as bad as it sounds per area. So now it looks like we're going to come in good. And again, the difference from this year to last year, as we were having this meeting, is that we didn't have the MQ. So that, again, it does represent some ROI, take the sting out of the money that's involved to repair it. But it does, it does offset too by consuming less fuel there. So, and you see that too. I mentioned that too. And again, looking at the, doing the budget that I did, as I mentioned, I spread out over 3 years. So it's not just, putting in numbers and, to pass to you guys or whatever. It's also studying, the trends and what we did, not just over, 1 year, it's over 3. And part of that is, we came in over on revenue. So we'll know the end of that, obviously, when the year ends completely and we get audited statements. And that ties into another point I'm gonna go over to about transitioning. But yeah, so far so good. The budget worked. Revenue's over, most expenses are under, so that's what you want to see there. And as I mentioned, we're still working on transitioning from Larson to in-house QuickBooks, which I think it's essential. Again, no offense, but we just can't get a good, timely financial report from these guys. I think it's number one. It's hard to do remote accounting, like that. And then number two, their agents are remote from them. You're dealing with somebody who doesn't still go to work. So, it's a tough one. Yeah. And I think by doing that, as I mentioned to you guys, we eliminate bill.com because QuickBooks can pay bills too. So you're eliminating a program that you have to interface with and try to match up these, different coded, areas of expenses. And it should eliminate that. That's a lot of the problem with Larson now. When they pull stuff out of bill.com into QuickBooks, it just rearranges it. So none of these coded accounts match up. It is an absolute mess, to try to go through. So that's a priority to get that going. And Connie's been training on it and starting to work with, it's going to take some work with Larson. There's still going to be some expense to get them going, but And again, remind you guys what the auditor told me last year too. He said, John, listen, there's cities much, much bigger than you, and all they do is use QuickBooks. And he said, you're going to be audited anyway, per requirement. So that takes care of that end of it, but you don't really need a CPA to do the books, daily. So it's going to make us more efficient, and then hopefully save us some money too. We can you keep everything up to date, which that's the trick, and which you do it daily, then you can basically produce a financial report on demand. You do, the month of March and half of April. I mean, you can do any configuration you want when everything is updated like that too. So that's
I really appreciate you guys' efforts to do that, to eliminate all the interfaces, because that's always when things go wrong. If you do it in two places and then with two programs, and so I really appreciate you too, Connie. That is
well, and it's, I think it's called like a decelerating curve as far as learning and effort. You're going to put more effort and, learn more as you start, but then when you do that daily, that curve and that effort goes down, and it becomes a much more simple process of just, if you do your inputs daily, which you're naturally doing those for the most part, paying bills, a little bit of revenue input, and the rest, takes care of itself. So yeah, just comes much easier for that. So I'm looking forward to that. As you guys were talking about, the PPAs and items, I mentioned ProBid reached out and said they could do a lot cheaper. They threw out the number of 13 cents a kilowatt hour for power. So I actually spoke with them today, and they are currently working on something that I'll get to you guys, so we see exactly what we're dealing with. I know they did mention some new technology. It's not anything that's outlandish and unproven. It's just called there's a company called Mechatron, and all Mechatron is it takes up less of a footprint for solar panels. It puts them on big feet that move. They're motorized and move with the sun, and they have less of a footprint. You put a lot more up in the air with a Mechatron, how those work. So once we get that, I'll pass on to you guys and see exactly what we're looking at. So give us, as you guys had mentioned, grants versus PPAs. And again, sometimes I feel cursed. I don't think there's any better place than Tickaboo to, as you read these grants, I just go, man, that's us. That's us.
yeah, why aren't they giving it to us?
Apparently people in Washington don't think that, but
well, there's only so much money to
yeah,
give out, and I'm sure it's really hard work and to make choices and to make them rationally. So
I'm sure it is. But anyway, options are good there. Next point, I'd already talked about the budget, how I put that together, and looking at trends. Not, like I said, it's one thing to put numbers in, but it's another thing to understand them, and own those numbers, which is what we do on that. And you guys saw the some of the photos I included.
I know.
Yeah.
You have to explain that bottom one. I'm not sure what that is.
So that is the intakes for the C9s when you look at them from the outside. If you look to the
pictures taken from outside.
Yeah, that's outside where the two C9s sit side by side. So that custom cover that I made today, designed and made, covers the big hole they left because they took the radiator with the C9 with them. It's same. Okay. It's filthy and well used. It's got to be either very well cleaned or replaced. So they took it out. There was this massive hole to the outside world in there. So it's a cold building anyway, because it's it's not insulated. It has louvers. I mean, the building is more focused on getting rid of heat than it is retaining it, which mostly makes sense. But it does get cold here in the winter. I have to go when I go to pump oil, like I did today, 10 gallons of it. I have to run and reset the breaker for the little oil motor like 10 times, because it's like putting syrup in the fridge when it gets cold. It doesn't want to move. So, but yeah, that just gives you an idea of kind of, you know, what's up there and what's going on. So, yeah, they're gonna, you know, again, that C9 is what it was. So we're looking at a 3-month process to rebuild, which is why I will be happy to have the MQ back, you know, too, while that other C9 is away. It's important, but I'll keep everybody up to date on that. I was going to tell you guys that somebody had stolen number 3, but it's just not that, you
I
know,
had this
April's
10
Fool.
little monkey sense when first the one went out and then the other, and I was like, oh no.
Always happens that way. No, I'm superstitious, and people are like, well, you have 3 generators. I'm like, yeah, but you don't get it. When one goes down, the other one's not far behind it in some
Well,
way,
it just
shape, or
goes to
form.
show that you need
Yeah,
backups
you got
because
it. Yeah,
it's important to keep the lights on in Tickaboo.
exactly. Yeah, no, I've been slapped one too many times over the years with that. So no, it'll be good to get the MQ back. And again, having 3 is having 2. I worry a little bit about it, especially like I said, number 2 almost on cue will shut down in the mornings. And number 1 takes over, and number 1, you see like 7 to 11% load, and it can't do that for very long. It's not necessarily bad for it. It's just not healthy for it to run that long under that light of a load. A lot of things go on, like wet stacking and different things there too. So, but that's it. Yeah, as far as the report so far, and other than that too, you know, it's end of the year, so we'll start to do water readings first. They're a little bit more involved, you know, reading the meters physically for end of the year billing, and then, you know, then we have the kilowatt, which doesn't take place until the February billing cycle there. So we're used to it, and we'll, you know, knock it out, get that, you know, all going too. But it's just, as I tell people, it's never a dull moment. There's always something, you know, via regulation or items. Like I had a guy reach out to me from the Division of Air Quality with DEQ, you know, on our air permitting, and just they have pictures of the generators, but they wanted new ones. You know, do that. Just it's always, which again, it's interesting and it goes with the territory, but there's not really ever any time that you twiddle your thumbs. You know, be it regulatory or educational or certification wise, it's, you know, it's the days go by quickly, which is, you know, it's a good thing.
Well, thank you, John.
You're welcome.
The update. So what do you do if you have a public hearing and nobody comes?
You hold the public hearing?
Yeah. It'll be recorded for posterity and people to see, and so that's a good thing.
Do we still have to go into public hearing and?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
I'd say yes.
okay, well, somebody wants to make a motion to go into public hearing.
I
Amy, you
moved to
want?
go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I was just gonna ask you if you wanted the honors. Go ahead.
Oh, sure. Thanks. I moved to go into public hearing.
I'll second.
Everybody in favor, say aye.
I
So this is anonymous. I'm now going to ask if there are any members of the public present who want to speak. And since that is a no, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing and move to a board discussion of the budget.
moved to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Everybody in favor, say aye.
I
Aye, and again, unanimous. John, was anything changed on that budget that you sent over compared to?
Not really. And again, it's not just to you know, pencil whip a document. It's number 1, the static nature that we operate. Expect, those costs to be generally the same and the revenues to be the same. I mean,
Mhm.
and then give an example on, I mean, you can be more aggressive. Example be fuel. If we come in at 195 this year, you still keep it for the uncertainty, because of what the state requires that if you do go over, you have to do changes. So whereas they don't if you're I mean, you always want to be over on revenues and under on expenses, but there was nothing that stood out
Mhm.
that would make you want to change anything, from your daily operating and yearly operating expenses and revenues. The only thing that really changed is what we consider capital expenses, which is going to be for obviously the generator work, for the C9. And at this point, from a monetary standpoint, that's also where the MQ would fall under too. Rule of thumb is anything over $5,000, generally can be considered that. But I'll verify that with them, just before I upload it. But really, other than that, no. That those the generators, capital, and then the water valves, which I'm still waiting on the estimate from Tony from the excavator to get to me that he's working on. But other than that may be the lack of interest, but because nothing changed as I told everybody, there's not nothing exciting. Exciting not to spend money and have some left, but other than that, yeah, nothing's really changed.
Okay, well, I think this is good work, so thanks for that. I don't have any questions about it. Amy or Mike, do you have any questions or comments or on the budget or?
I don't
No,
know.
it's straightforward.
Oh, well, if not, I would entertain a motion to approve this budget. That's what we need to do, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I move to approve the budget as it's written.
I'll second.
Okay, since this is kind of important, so maybe we just each say our name and then yes or no. Amy
Amy Golden, yes.
Mike Moreland, yes.
and Alexa Wilson also yes, so our budget is approved unanimously and we're ready for a new year.
Good deal. Yeah, as I mentioned, I'll just upload that. I'll confer briefly with the state auditor and make sure we're all good. They let you know if you're not anyway, and then we'll do the upload to those guys right after first of the year type of deal, and right after get it going.
Good. The only thing we have left on the agenda is our next meeting date. From internet conversation, I got the impression that we were looking at every 3 months, and if something special comes up, we announce a special meeting. Did I get that right, Amy and Mike?
Yes.
John, Connie, do you think that you guys can work with that?
Yeah. I mean, just as Mike mentioned, it's easy enough to call a meeting, should situation or warrant it for us or the public, and we'll always, number one, keep you guys informed, hopefully in detail, and you guys are always welcome to reach out, if there are any
Thank you
questions.
for all those detailed operation emails you sent out to the public and to us. I think it's important that everybody knows that lots of things need to happen to keep the district running. That we're not,
Yeah, I do
we're
too.
not just
Yeah.
sitting on your butt and sending out invoices every month.
Yeah,
Just
no,
for the
I
fun
know.
of
I,
it.
th I think we have the fish culprit narrowed down. I'm just wanting to see if they would respond to that and step up and take responsibility. They may or may not, but that's things. It's yeah, no, it's nobody that lives there. It's which is why people are suspicious of anybody new. So, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
As you look at, history, but we just need people, it's easier. It just needs, I don't care if you're there for a week, you need to be respectful of things like that. That's a big deal.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, yeah, as far as details, like I know you guys saw the one too. It's important. One of the residents, he had a water leak, and those pipes back in the village, they're corroding now. They're all at that age. So that's
Mm.
something to send out, just as a courtesy and let people know. And, it's important, like you say, Alexa, keeping the lights on and the water flowing. It's a matter of making sure people have essentials too. So yeah, we'll continue to do that. And again, the ultimate goal is more of a newsletter and, more website interaction. But in the meantime, as you get pulled away, that's, to bridge that gap.
I'm more a function over form
Yeah,
girl.
there you go. Yeah.
I mean, form is nice, but we can make things pretty and
Yeah.
but as long as the information gets out. So I have the dates of March 12, June 11, September 10, and December 10 on the list for our regular meetings.
Can I make one request, Alexa, please?
Uh-huh.
The March 12th meeting, can we push that back 1 week? Would that be
Yes,
possible?
I think so. To March. Which one were you talking about? March 12th?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be March 19.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Would that work for you, Mike?
Yeah, if I'm still on the board.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't get an answer from the county.
Yeah, I tried to reach out to Kate and couldn't get him. I reached out to Jerry, just let him know what was going on. He said he would find out what needs to be done and get back to us. So,
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so we have March 19, June 11, September 10, and December 10. And I'm assuming they're not etched in stone.
I'll probably be in typically March 19th. I think that's during our spring breaks. That'd be-
Nice.
Well, now, as an example, we know that we'll have to have a November meeting for budget approval, for draft budget approval.
Yeah.
So, and again, that's easy enough, to announce. Give obviously ample time, but work that in there too. So yeah, just keep that in mind.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a good thing. I think it's definitely doable. The only issue that I could foresee is just communication. As long as we keep good communication flowing, I think we're gonna be fine.
Yeah, I agree. No, it's essential, and I'll certainly, do that. And Connie will too, of course, and be accessible too. And same for obviously the customers or anybody that have anything, which we always are.
Is there a way to approve this kind of off topic? It just hit me. I'm sorry. But is there a way to approve bills on QuickBooks? For us to approve like we're doing through bill.com?
Connie, you've done more research than I have on that. You can probably,
Trying to unmute myself.
Okay.
here.
she's having technical difficulties trying to unmute. My understanding is that you can, because I know she had talked about some approvers, basically
Okay.
the same way that bill.com does it.
Yeah, I actually
Okay.
called and checked into it. And they said, yes, it's a $99 a month plan. You can have up to 5 users. And we need 3 approvers and 1 user. So they assured me that you could do that. So that was my big question too. So, but so far it looks like everything's gonna work exactly the same. Very similarly, you'll get an email hopefully and be able to approve it that way. And
Okay, cool. Very good. Thank you.
That brings us, I just sent out a new email with the new date of March 19. Mostly for myself, so I won't forget.
Got it. Thank you.
So that was our last calendar item. So I think we're all ready for Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
I think so. That and a little bit warmer weather. Got too cold too quick here.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shock.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you all for everybody and all the work you've done, and appreciate it very much, and Merry Christmas and New Year.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike, and same to you. Merry Christmas as well.
Okay, so then we need a motion to adjourn and a second, and then we're out of here.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Yeah, everybody in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you all.
Take care.
Good night, guys. Have a good evening.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Same to you.